I am in the middle of the biggest crisis of my adult life and I can barely think. My wife went to Mexico last week for a friend's bachelorette party, and aside from the plane ticket, the hotel and the first day's food and drinks, she didn't spend a penny all week. I mean, on the credit card it's as clear as day that on Monday up until about 9 p.m. she was buying dinner, stuff at the hotel shop, drinks at the bar and souvenirs, and then at 9 p.m. she didn't spend another cent of the entire week until she was at her layover airport in Dallas. She says it's because her friend took over and paid for everything. I guess this is plausible, but it is still giving me a funny feeling. What's worse is that my wife posts her entire life on Instagram, mostly Instagram. If she does anything, from getting a latte to picking the kids up at school, she will post it either as a picture or as a story. The last thing she posted on Instagram was the trend of people jumping into their vacation from the airport. After that, her social media was blank. I was kind of keeping an eye on it because I was excited for her to go on the trip, and again, I guess it's plausible, but it gives me a funny feeling. When she got home, I said I couldn't wait to see all the pics she took, and she really blew me off and said she just didn't feel like taking pics that week. She has also been incredibly distant. Last night she said she just felt like sleeping on the couch because the AC hits better. This is 100% true, but I swear I heard her talking on the phone in the middle of the night. When I got up to check on her, I accidentally tripped over the dog and made a huge racket, so when I got downstairs she appeared to be asleep. I brought this up this morning and said I'm not accusing her of anything, but all this put together makes me feel uneasy. I wasn't trying to bait her or fight with her, just put my feelings on the table. She said, "You are a major damn idiot for bringing this up on her first day back at work." I said I wasn't trying to pry, just communicating with her, and she said, "Your communication is prying, and I'm not discussing this with you ever again." She then took the kids to summer camp and left. Am I the idiot for suspecting my wife of doing something awful at her friend's bachelorette week? Not the idiot. There's a lot of missing information here, but the fact that she won't discuss her vacation with you and even considers it prying when you ask about it is very strange. Sleeping on the couch is kind of the nail in the coffin for me. Call the rest of the boyfriends and husbands. Someone will know something. Pretty sure they're counting on you all not communicating. Dude, you feel something is off because something is certainly off. Listen to your gut. The way she handled this, every step is a huge red flag, and she would be stupid not to see that herself. It seems like she wants to get caught. Like, she really didn't think he'd notice the complete lack of money spent or social media posts. Sleeping on the couch after being gone a week? Getting angry after you bring up the lack of posts? Maybe it's all innocent on her part, but she's not acting like it. Update number 1. So I realized that her text probably synced to her iPad, so I just checked. It took me a while to figure out the passcode, but I did. There was a message at 9:15 the night she got to the resort from a number with no contact info that said, "Okay, I'll meet you in the lobby. Is the app you said Signal?" I looked up Signal and it's kind of like WhatsApp. The iPad doesn't have Signal on it. I googled the number that texted the Signal thing and it goes back to a real estate company in Florida. I checked it. I've already seen his pic, his Instagram and his Facebook. I'm not ready to jump to cheating, but if so, he is never who you picture your wife cheating with. He's like 55, we're 32, and looks like a sleazy South Florida real estate guy, and his kids seem to be well into their 20s. My sister is coming over and she's an insane internet sleuth, so we will talk and she can do her thing. I'm numb, but she can do this. Signal is a messaging app where everything disappears. She's cheating on you, damn near sure of it. Besides the fact that she's sleeping on the couch, probably feeling guilty and uninterested in you, and she's getting mad at you for prying. Having Signal is a red flag in any relationship. Ask her other friends who were there at the bachelorette weekend what went down. They'll probably give you mixed stories or whatever. So to be clear, your wife was directly communicating with a specific older man on an encrypted secret messaging app while on a trip and refuses to talk to you about anything that happened? Was this even a bachelorette party weekend? Sounds a lot more like a cheater's getaway. 2 + 2 = 4, my guy. There are no possible good explanations for this. I'm so sorry, OP. Good luck with your divorce. Update number 2. She cheated. My sister was able to get lots of info from the real estate guy, and my wife denied it at first but then admitted it. Sorry it took so long to update, but I'm numb. Have literally zero idea what to do now. I, female 31, have this 3-year-old golden shepherd named Dennis. Dennis had 4 owners before me and all of them were terrible. He was actually in the shelter and scheduled to be put down before I adopted him. Since Dennis is considered a reactive dog, I've taken plenty of precautions with him. I keep him in a certain room when people who are not familiar with him come over. I take him on walks during the time of the day when the least people are out, etc. So my neighbours recently got this new dog, a 6-month-old golden retriever female named Lily. Now Lily is hyperactive, which is normal for her age, so I told my neighbours in advance that it would be best for them to keep her away from Dennis, given how he may interpret her hyperactivity as aggression. I've already warned them several times before this that Dennis is reactive when they've asked to pet him in the past. Last Friday I was going to take Dennis for a walk. It was about 11 a.m. and my neighbours were unloading groceries from their car. Their front door was open, so Lily came running outside. I started telling my neighbours to grab her, and they called to her, but she noticed Dennis and me and came running at us. Dennis started lunging and barking at her, so I held his leash tight, but Lily got close and gave him a small bite. He bit her back extremely hard. It was quite scary because he latched onto her shoulder very strongly and began shaking his head and neck. It took me and my neighbours about 3 minutes to get Dennis off Lily. Dennis only latched on like this because my neighbours were screaming and hitting him, making him more reactive. Lily was pretty badly hurt and needed to go to the vet immediately. I hadn't spoken to my neighbours since yesterday when they approached me. They said Lily had to be hospitalised for an entire week and they wanted me to pay half the bill, about $3,000. I told them absolutely not, and they were mainly to blame since they hit Dennis and let Lily approach him. We argued and they said they consider legal action. I'm honestly so angry right now and have decided to find a lawyer myself just in case they're serious. Some of my co-workers think I should just apologise because Dennis technically hospitalised Lily. They think I'm being a bit of an idiot. Not the idiot. You had previously informed your neighbours about the situation. You were on your own property. You warned your neighbours to get Lily when she ran out. I'll be honest, I think you show great restraint towards neighbours who ran onto your property and started hitting and kicking your dog. I'm going against the grain. Everyone's the idiot here. They were irresponsible dog owners leaving their door open and their puppy not crated or somewhere it couldn't get out. They're 90% at fault for being idiots. They're the idiots for beating Dennis. But knowing Dennis has issues, if you're refusing to muzzle him, then seeing that door open, knowing they have a puppy, you should have waited to walk him or asked if their dog was crated. So you are the idiot for that. All around a sad situation for the dogs because they're humans are jerks. Yep, two idiots living next to each other. This, if it was a child and in the future, it may as well be, nothing would matter except the muzzle. Usually I think the owner of unleashed dogs is to blame, but we all know dogs can run away. Hope he knew they had a pup that could be killed by their own dog. You have to be aware and consider your nearby area's dogs. OP is doing the bare minimum. They could have retreated to their home the moment that door opened. This is being unaware and irresponsible. I just hate everyone in this scenario. Reckless. Update, my doorbell camera captured most of it. It shows Dennis and me standing right in front of my porch on my private property and Lily running over to us. Dennis was lunging initially, but I held him tightly so he would calm down. I tried to stand between Lily and Dennis, but she runs around and bites him on the leg. Dennis then bites her on the shoulder and latches on. My neighbours then came running and started punching and kicking him. The whole ordeal lasted 2 minutes and 47 seconds. If need be, I'll take this footage to file my own police report if they want to escalate. Many people are wondering why Dennis wasn't wearing a muzzle, which I will explain here so everyone can see it. Dennis had 4 owners before me. His second owner had him when he was between 4 months and 16 months. Because he would sometimes puppy bite, his second owner would put a muzzle on him. Since then, muzzles have been something that traumatizes him. Both the shelter and the trainer I'm working with recommended that I do not use any muzzle as it may cause him to regress. Recently, my husband's ex from high school showed up, saying they had a child together over 10 years ago and their daughter now wants to get to know him. They broke up right after high school and went to different unis. They were already broken up when she found out she was pregnant. Since she wanted to go to med school, her parents offered to take care of the baby, but apparently banned her from telling my husband. I'm 100% supportive of my husband getting to know his daughter, but at the same time, I have some financial concerns. I came into this marriage with more assets, and I earn more than he, and financial stability is very important to me. The thought of something happening to him and losing part of my assets to his child terrifies me. Sharing everything with my husband never bothered me before because that's part of marriage. But his suddenly having a daughter is not what I signed up for. Therefore, I want a postnuptial agreement that protects my assets. When I told my husband this, he got very frustrated with me, saying that he'd just found out he had a daughter and he wasn't in her life for the first so many years. He's still in shock, and one of the first things I do is come at him with a postnuptial, making it seem like I'm preparing to divorce him. I think I'm justified in wanting a postnuptial, and I've spent the last 2 months being extremely supportive of him and helping him manage this situation. I don't see why wanting peace of mind for myself is that bad, but one of my friends also said that I'm kind of an idiot for bringing up a postnuptial, and it's not like my husband is likely to die anytime soon that makes me really need this. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, you gave him 2 months. The news is big, but he's an adult and life isn't always going to be smooth sailing. He had his shock and now he needs to prepare, and so do you. Don't listen to people saying you're the idiot. The biomom's family has been the idiots for keeping his child from him for 13 years. Protect yourself until this sorts itself out. Do not feel bad. You are the only one looking out for yourself right now. This mom could sue him for back child support and current support. OP must ensure everything is based on her husband, not joint income or assets. I think she's smart for this. I think it's important to do it quickly. I would ask for the same. I'm sure he was shell-shocked, but so was she. We're talking about paying for school, cars, college, insurance, etc. It's important to get ahead of it. Is she really his child? I mean, it's not rare for exes to just pop up with a child claiming that X is the father. I would do a DNA test just to be sure. OP, don't wait for your husband to take action on this matter. While he's busy sorting things out with his daughter, you should speak with an attorney and have the postnuptial drawn up, so all he has to do is sign. My fiancé and I, both in our 20s, are getting married in a month. There's a dispute with my dad now and he claims I'm being unfair, but I wanted to get some thoughts on it. So Dad decided he would give a speech at the wedding without saying anything first. He had shared the contents of said speech with his sister, my aunt, and she knew the speech would not sit well with me, so she mentioned his plan to me. So in this speech he already wrote, he talks a lot about how his wife is the love of his life, how amazing she is, etc. It's very similar to his speech at their vow renewal 10 years ago. He hasn't shied away from expressing to me that he never loved anyone like he loves his wife, and how all his past relationships pale in comparison. And that includes my mom, who was his first wife, who left him a widower with an 8-year-old son at the time. To make it even more difficult to hear, the vow renewal was held on my 18th birthday, and I got to celebrate my birthday by hearing Dad talk about how Mom meant nothing because his second wife was so much better. They were married 8 years at the time. But a lot of family and friends didn't attend their actual wedding, and they decided they basically have a second one to celebrate, and they decided my birthday was the perfect time to do this. Anyway, the speech he wrote for my wedding had a lot of this content from what my aunt heard from my dad and read herself. She knew on my wedding day the last thing I needed to hear was how much he adores his wife when he does so in a way that basically said my mom meant nothing to him. I told him I knew about the speech and he didn't have permission to give the speech at my wedding. Dad asked why not, and I told him I didn't want him to use my wedding to praise his wife. He said she means the world to us, so why would I say that? I told him she meant the world to him, but she pales compared to my mom, who meant the world to me and still does. I told him he might have decided Mom meant nothing, but that didn't mean I shared his feelings. He accused me of being sensitive and then said it seemed like I didn't care about his wife at all, and then he said she was a good mom to me for the 8 years she raised me. I told him she was never anything more than his wife. My mom died when I was 8, and I didn't get a new one, and the last thing I need to hear is how little she meant on my wedding day. Dad told me to be reasonable, and the bride and groom's parents typically say something. I told him nothing he had to say had a place at my wedding, that this is mine and my fiancé's wedding, not his. I told him to get married again if he only wanted to praise his wife, but this was not happening at mine. He told me to stop acting like a little boy and grow up. I left. Then his wife called crying about the fight Dad and I had. This led to Dad calling me again and telling me to grow up again. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, it's your wedding. Your father is insensitive here and acting like a little boy. Even if he had good intentions when he wrote the speech, your talk with him should have made it clear that it would be inappropriate to say those things at your wedding. He needs to swallow his pride and accept that on your wedding day, everything should be focused on elevating you and your fiancé, not his wife, and certainly not on downplaying the importance of your mother. I talked to his wife and explained the situation. I'd be mortified if I were her and tell him not to mention me at all. But if she's narcissistic, which would account for the dad's irrational need to praise her, she'll think you have the problem. And if that's the case, then you're right to enforce no speech. She knows. She was crying on the phone at me. She's upset that I wasn't willing to let my dad make the speech about her and how amazing she is. She's mostly upset that I didn't want her praise his son, and probably also that I was so clear with Dad that I didn't love her like he did. Then she's definitely the narcissist, on the more extreme end of the spectrum, and has your dad in her spell. Dad is someone that needs to stay home. His speech is inappropriate, hurtful, disrespectful and insensitive. If that doesn't make him enough of an idiot, he put it on you and wifey called to cry, securing their positions as king and queen idiot. They deserve a text uninviting them. They didn't have good intentions. They wanted to use your wedding not to celebrate your relationship, but their own. Again, in their minds, it's all about them. For the love, this is your day. If they can't accept that, then they don't need to be there.